Hello, this is Sean with JRT Fit, and we're going to talk today about muscles and how they contract. Okay, I like to back this story up a couple hundred years just because, it's more fun that way. But a couple hundred years ago, the theory was that our nerves, yes, I said nerves, carry oxygen through the body to the muscles. And when you make a muscle, that fills up with air. Now that's extremely laughable, and I hope you're laughing about that because it's really funny. The sad part about that is that the majority of the people today believe something that's just as laughable. And what they basically learned is that, oh wait, nerves actually conduct electricity. Learned that actually from a wagon wheel, kind of neat, back in the 1800s. And then they started playing with electrodes and, started zapping these muscles on these cadavers, dead people, and started noticing, oh wow, they contract when we do that. That must be what happens with our muscles, is our nerves go in there and they zap our muscles and that creates a contraction. And I know what you're thinking. There's actually some infomercial things that they still probably sell that basically are selling that idea. And you're right, they are. Unfortunately, that doesn't work either. See, when my brain says, hey, lift up this dumbbell or this weight or whatever, I'm not actually pointing at a dumbbell, obviously. I'm sending acetylcholine across the neural synapse. Okay, past that neural synapse, there's no electrical signal, nothing got zapped. So that's it, no more nerve after that. The acetylcholine says, hey, release calcium out of the sarcolemma or the sarcomere. Okay, what's a sarcomere? Well, your muscle fibers have these big cylinders called myofibrils. And the myofibrils have all these little cylinders inside of them. Okay, and those little cylinders inside of them are these little protein filaments called myosin. They butt up against each other, and then actin, and the myosin actin generally are shown overlapping like this. So you have the actin over here, myosin, actin, myosin, myosin, actin, and from here's a Z line to here's a Z line. So from Z line to Z line, that's one sarcomere. Did you get that visual? So basically, calcium gets released in here. And what happens, and now these are going to be actin and myosin. So actin, myosin, okay? Now the calcium comes up and it's a positively charged molecule, right? Ca++. And there's this little negatively charged nodule right here that the calcium actually connects to. Okay, and that releases this little thing on the actin that basically a hook can attach to. And now we're talking about the myosin. So the myosin has this little hair-like molecule that comes off of it called troponin that has a nice little hook at the end. I just mentioned a hook over here, right? So this hook over here attaches to this little thing that a hook can attach to and then pulls it across. Now, historically, whenever we've illustrated a muscle in a book or anything like that, we've always shown them together like this at rest and this contracted. Now, in reality, that happens in 1/1000th of a second when this happens, when you have that calcium and everything else and the troponin grabs onto that and pulls it over. So it happens extraordinarily quickly. And it can happen from 40 to 120 times per second, depending on type 1, type 2, type 2A, type 2B fibers. Anyways, very, very quickly. And then it releases back to here in another 1/1000th of a second. Now, the thing is that we still to this day have not gotten any volunteers. Maybe you're out there right now. We need a volunteer that's willing to get cut open while they're working out, where we can put a microscope up to you and kind of see what's happening while you're lifting. Any volunteers out there? Oh yeah, right, this isn't live. Anyway, so obviously that's not going to pass an ethics committee. We can't do it. Eventually, I'd like to see cameras actually injected into the muscles, and I think that would actually give us a great indication of what is actually happening during. But for now, we have to base everything on the cadavers. Now, a while ago, I was reading this study that talked about the actual basically sarcomere position, so the overlap of the actin and myosin filaments when you're stretching a cadaver. Okay, and basically what we learned is that they come really far apart from each other. Now they're still connected by something that we call a titin protein that acts like a rubber band. If you go too far apart, it'll still kind of bounce back. And a lot of people say, yeah, it bounces back right into position again. I don't think so. It can't always bounce back immediately to that position. As I talked about in another video with the stretching, there's a reason that when you stretch a muscle statically for 5 minutes or something like that, that you cannot go right into a contraction just as quickly and as well as if you didn't stretch. And this is the reason, because you've pulled the sarcomeres too far apart from, or the actin and myosin filaments too far apart from each other. The Z lines have come too far apart, and they haven't yet made enough of these actin and myosin filaments actually overlap again, because they need this overlap in order to actually pull. It's a mechanical mechanism. It's not a zap. So that's actually where the J range comes from. Once I figured that out, I took it to the gym, and I said, you know what? There's got to be something that I feel. There's got to be, I'm very aware of my muscles. I can feel everything when I'm lifting weights. I can feel transference to my joints. I can feel everything else. Let's see if I can feel right before that transference happens instead of just basing it on a degree angle or anything like that. And so I did. I went to the gym and I felt it. I felt it for the first time. I noticed it. I said, oh my gosh, there's a last point. Our body actually tells us exactly where we're supposed to stop in a gym on any exercise. So I took it to my clients and I said, oh my gosh, I figured something out. And I explained it to them, and then I asked this super weird question. I asked, hey, you mind if I touch your muscles while you're working out? Now I picked an exercise that was, a little bit easier to ask them with some sort of lat pull or pull up or something like that, so I could feel their back. And in every case, they let me do it. And I said, oh my gosh, this is exciting. I can feel it on you. I can feel exactly when you should stop. And a lot of them could actually feel it as well. Some people can't, some people can't. And the most exciting part about it is that everyone was different. So some people should stop very early on a lat pull. They come all the way down and then they should maybe stop here. While some people should go almost to here. And it was really neat that our bodies naturally tell us where your range of motion should be, your safety range. Now, I call it safety range. Why do I call it safety range? Well, if your lats, biceps, and posterior deltoid during a lat pull are all stretching, then there's transference to your joints. If during a bench press or a push-up, I'm going all the way down, then I'm transferring stuff to my shoulders because my anterior deltoid, my coracobrachialis, my triceps brachii, and my pectoralis major are all stretching, which means that the majority of these actin and myosin filaments are too far apart from each other to actually make a good contraction. So it was awesome. I couldn't believe it, but I kept going with it. And it actually works. It's much safer. I haven't injured anyone because of range of motion in years and over a decade. And it's freaking awesome. The other cool part about it is that it actually is more efficient. Okay, I like to talk about efficiency when we talk about overload in the gym. So no matter what we're trying to do in here, no matter what it is, what lift we're doing, we're attempting to overload something in order to force an adaptation on your body. So in order to overload something, we have to put the most amount of stress on it possible. So I like to parallel an analogy of overloading the temperature of water. And we'll call overloading the temperature of water boiling water. So we put water in a pot on the burner, turn the burner to high, and we leave it there. We don't sit there and lift it off, put it back down, lift it off, put it back down, lift it off, put it back down. That'd be ridiculous. So my question is, in the gym, why do we do that? Why do we lift it off, put it back down, lift it off, put it back down? So it's more efficient. And I can attest that my clients get so much better results than any full range or even other idea on partial range of motion training that they've ever done. And it's super exciting being able to actually not hurt anyone while you're giving them the best results ever. Now, I'm not saying that everyone in my entire industry is wrong for doing full range of motion. I completely understand why they believe that. I completely understand why they still teach it. But someday, everyone will realize that this is actually more efficient. And I'm totally cool with figuring out finding something that's even more efficient than my J range. If someone can objectively prove to me that something is better and safer than my J range, then great, we'll start doing that. But until then, keep it safe. So love to meet you. My website is jrtfit.com. I'm a fellow with the National Board of Fitness Examiners and love to meet you soon. Have a great day.